Okay, so you can just listen to this. You don't need to pay that much attention to it. It's not necessarily going to teach you anything that you need to take action on. It's more along the lines of giving you information that you can keep in the back of your mind. So, listen to this while you're doing something else. I mean, even if you're distracted, as long as you get the gist. I just wanted to share some things with you as you're starting this journey. One of the things I want to share with you is my personal story, and it's gone on for years. I don't know why. I mean, I know why I started my first business. I don't know why I started my first business, if that makes sense. I was living in North Carolina, and it was 2010. And I've obviously worked for other people. I've never worked for like big corporations or had like a corporate job. I've always worked for small businesses. And I've always found myself working for small businesses and then kind of getting screwed because whatever my position or job was, like it was one thing. But then I would go in and be like, oh my goodness, I see how we can make this better or do this or we should do this. And even before I was in the online marketing space and any of that stuff, like I knew of things, I had ideas. And so I would end up doing my job that was whatever it was. And then I would go above and beyond and do another position because I wanted to, not because I was asked to. But then at some point, people get used to it and it's like, oh, this is great. Like, and then you keep doing it, but you're not getting paid for any of it. And then you get burnout and then expectations get weird and it's just, it is what it is. And so, you know, I was never happy working for other people. I resented working for other people in the sense that I didn't like people telling me when I had to do something or where to be when, or telling me I couldn't, or feel guilty when I was sick. That was always a big thing for me. You know, people don't want you to come to work when you're sick, but at the same time, I always felt like, oh, I can power through. Like, if I go to work and they tell me to go home, then there's no guilt. But if I call them and say, hey, I'm not feeling well or whatever, then I had this guilt that I was like faking it, not faking it, but like that they would just be like, oh, Julie's sick, whatever. Like, I don't know why. That's a personal issue. But, I resented that I couldn't be sick or I couldn't take a trip or I didn't have, I spent the majority of my day working, but didn't have much to show for it financially. It wasn't fulfilling. The fulfilling pieces were the parts I put into the job myself. So, I never had this job that I was like, oh, I love my job and everything's great and I'm getting used to my full potential. So I'm sure that was part of, how I ended up where I am now. So in 2010, though, I don't remember if I was working somewhere at the time and where I met my friend, Erin, and her daughter. And I don't know, she was young. She was like 2 or 3 at the time. And her grandfather worked for Disney World. And so this little girl would get to have all these amazing experiences. And she'd come and tell me and about, breakfast with princesses and this and that and whatever. And as a child, I never got to go as an adult, I've never been to Disney World. And so I just remember thinking, wow, like what a magical experience. More kids need the opportunity to have it. And so that was like, I wasn't looking to start a business. I wasn't like purposefully like trying to come up with something. It was more of a, this needs to be a thing. And so that I built the business because I decided there was a need for it, which is great. Like it's a great, not easy, but stress-free way. You're not digging in trying to like find your life's purpose for the business you start, which I'll talk about later. It was just like, here's a need. I can feel that. I can feel that and I can have fun with it. And so I remember when I first started out, like collecting, it was out of pocket money, obviously. But there was no big overhead as far as, I didn't need brick and mortar shop. I didn't need, any of those things. I could work from home. I needed a website. I needed a way to take payments. I needed party materials. I needed to hire people, and I needed like the costumes, the dresses, the wigs, and all of that. And so when I first started out, I purchased like the Disney princess gowns that are out, and some of them are pretty good. I remember Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. They had some really nice ones. Ariel's was weird. Belle had no good costume. It was, it was whatever. It was, and so Belle, I was like shopping around finding similar dresses, and I mean it was fun and buying wigs. And then as things grew, I would I hired people through Etsy or eBay to make the ball gowns to my employees sizes, and they would have their own set of dresses. So it grew, but it started out with what I could do. And so I remember getting a hotel room and having the girls come there for interviews. I guess it was just like I didn't want them to come to my house because I felt like that might be weird. And I'm sure it was weird anyways, having them come to a hotel. Like, I'm not sure how I would have felt as them, but I mean, I knew I was fine and I wasn't going to do anything to them. But it was interesting now that I'm thinking back on it. But anyway, so I had this business, ran it for several years. I basically built a website for the first time and learned about website, learned about marketing, learned about all the pieces, and like started reaching out and working with charities and the library and like Make-A-Wish, like, and using what we had for nonprofits and volunteer opportunities too. So parents would hire my princesses to come and do their child's event or party or whatever. And that's how we made money. I paid $25 an hour. The minimum they would make. There was even like a short, like brief appearance where they would show up and just do like a small portion of the party, regardless of 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. They paid $25 minimum, and they made $25 an hour, which seemed good and fair at the time. And we had like a wide range of parties, and depending on the party package, depending on what would happen and what the level of activities that would be done, and all of that. So I did that for a few years, and as I did it, I started like really working on my parts of it, the customer service pieces, the marketing, the website, all those pieces, and then would send my girls out to do their parties. And realized I really enjoyed the strategy and the business part and learning about it and putting it in place and testing it and seeing how everything works together and getting creative. Eventually, I wasn't super sure how I felt about the whole princess thing, just messages to the little girls. I mean, I'm not one side or the other. They love it. They think it's magical. I think that's great. But at the same time, it wasn't having princesses to send out was not my life's calling. And also we were getting we were one of the first businesses that did this. Now they're everywhere, or I don't know if they are anymore, but they were by the time I was wrapping things up. And but we would get requests from Pennsylvania and New York and be like, hey, we want to book a party, and it's like, hey, we don't travel. That's not how this works. Like, this is a local thing. But that's how popular it was. And part of me was like, oh, maybe I should help other people start this business. Like, the business model, they can use the logo, they can they can have a website that's set up for them, they can like a franchise but not a franchise. But then I was also worried. I mean, I had tried the best I could to do everything that I knew, and I didn't know much, but like I did some research. It was really hard to find out like Disney's rules about their costumes and the names and all of that stuff. Like, I went through all the legal junk, like through websites, and tried to find stuff, couldn't. But I also knew that wasn't a good enough reason to violate anything on, the part of Disney. And so at whatever point, I was just like, it's not worth it to like try to expand it and make it big and make it super popular like across the country, because if it's on Disney's radar and something is not okay with the way this is set up, then I'm going to get sued. People are going to get sued. It's going to be bad. I also moved across the country in 2014. And so I still was running the business, but knew that with the time difference from the East Coast to the West Coast, it just wasn't going to work well. And I had I was getting into a new life, so to speak, and I couldn't put my focus and attention on it. And so I sold it off to some of the girls that work for me, and they continued it. And I honestly don't know if it's still going on to this day. But anyways, long story, kind of not short. That's how I ended up doing what I'm doing now. And so I started the business because I saw a need, but I also, had never really been super happy with jobs I had. I always saw a better way or a different way. And so it all kind of worked together. And so when I moved to the West Coast, I don't even remember at this point, but I think I already had clients I was kind of working with. I had website designers that had me on retainer so that I could help them when they had projects and different pieces come up. And so it was an interesting business model, but it worked because what it allowed me to do was live anywhere. If I had internet, I could be accessible. So that was great. The next point is in time freedom. Like, I don't want to be on call for you. I don't want you to think I am constantly going to jump when you say jump or be on top of my emails. And maybe that's laziness, maybe that's whatever, but that's in my mind. If I'm going to have my own business, I'm going to have it the way I want. And I don't, if I am somewhere and I decide that I am going to go out sailing for 5 days and not be on top of my email, I don't want to have to. And so, eventually that business model turned into other things. And a good example, even as late as December 2018, January of 2019. So I had surgery to donate part of my liver to someone. And you'll have wake-up calls as you go through this, and you'll be like, oh, this is actually really important to me. And different things, experiences, different clients, different people, all the things will guide you towards honing in on making your business exactly what you want it to be. So don't think starting out that you have to have all your ducks in a row, know exactly what you want, or get exactly what you want, because you're not. You're going to have to build up to it and like reshape it as you grow. But so for me, I had the surgery. I was more worried about getting to have the surgery because I was donating my liver to someone, and it's a huge process. And I should say part of my liver to someone. It was a huge process. You go through all these hoops, and you hope that they will let you. You hope that you're compatible. You hope that you have nothing that is going to keep you from doing it. And so that was my main worry. And once I got cleared and surgery was scheduled, like, I never gave much thought to the recovery. I knew, okay, well, I'm going to be in pain, obviously. I've never had like major surgery like this. And so, but I never asked a lot of questions because I didn't care. I was like, well, I'll just deal with whatever happens. And I also let the people I was working with at the time know, hey, I'm having surgery. I had an away message set up. Like, I don't even remember what I assumed. I don't know if I don't think I ever gave anyone specifics. Like, I will officially be back to work this day. But I will say I worked with an OBM at the time, who's an online business manager, doing a lot of website stuff for her clients. I worked for another group of people that I actually continued working with through last year and just ended that relationship recently. But there was definitely, like, surgery happened December 11th, and then there's Christmas, there's New Year's, whatever. But it took me much longer to mentally be able to do things than I expected. Like, my thought was, I don't have to go into work. I don't have to go into a job. I can sit in bed with my computer. Well, it was a lot more involved than sitting in bed with a computer. There was, more pain meds, longer on the pain meds. You're in the hospital for 7 days. You start out in ICU. You leave the hospital. You still have drains hanging from your, it was a thing. And so I was not in a position to just lay in my bed with my computer and be mentally aware and focused and be able to even sit up necessarily, much less like focus and do something for somebody else. And so that caused issues. I actually lost the OBM I was working with. She just felt like I wasn't reliable anymore, because I couldn't. I mean, I told her, yeah, I can try to get that done, and then I couldn't because I could not. And I remember specifically, like, when I first started getting back and trying to do stuff on the computer, it was like I checked my email, and 20 minutes later I need a break. Like, email was exhausting. And that was totally fine. I made the decision to have the surgery. She needed more and whatever she needed. But after that, I was like, you know what? I don't want to work in a way that I can't have surgery without risking losing my income. I don't want to work in a way where I can't donate my liver to somebody and then have guilt about it. Like, it didn't feel good. And so now, as I've continued to evolve, and businesses are always evolving, even when you see somebody who looks like they're making all the money in the world and like, what could they possibly want more or different? It's always evolving because what you're focused on changes. As far as, first you're focused on, okay, I need to make money to live. And so I'm starting this business so I can make more money, and I have the opportunity to make more money. And so I can quit my job. And then once you quit your job and you're making the income that pays your bills and lets you be okay, then you're like, okay, well, I want more. And you're like, I want to be less tied down. So then you change the way you offer your services. You change the expectations of clients. You change the way you work with clients. You change your offerings. And then you're like, okay, now I have the freedom the time freedom and the freedom to not have to explain my schedule to somebody or tell them why I am or am not available for them. But now I want to make more money. And so then you continue to change. And then as you get to the point where, okay, you can work the way you want, you can work where you want, you can work how you want, you don't have necessarily anybody to answer to, and you're making more than enough money to the point where you're saving, you're investing, you're donating, you're paying your bills, you're like in overflow, then you even change, then everything, in your head right now, everything is like, that's the goal, and then you just keep doing that, but you don't. Then you're like, okay, how can I better help these people? Or what cool thing can I do that's going to help them with whatever you offer? Like, it just keeps evolving. So, you're going to start one way, and then 3 years from now, your business is going to look totally different. And it's totally cool. Something else I will mention as you're doing this, like right now, you're probably a party of one, which is great. And you can do a lot and get a lot done, and you can hire contractors for the stuff you can't do, won't do, don't know how to do, and don't want to learn. But a lot of you will learn. And that's what we try to provide at Business by Design, is help you to DIY stuff. And then once you get to a certain point, then you're gonna, have the income coming in to pay others to do the things that you're not good at, you don't want to do, you don't want to learn, and all of that. So that's when you'll hire people eventually. You might just hire one person, you might have a team of people. It just completely depends on what you're doing, what you're offering, and what you enjoy. I will say this, and I think, well, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know the whole story behind it, but I remember hearing Amanda Frances talk about, I don't know why she did it, but in my head it makes sense why somebody would do it. So basically, she set up an assistant for herself, even when she was a business of one. And hopefully I'm not lying about this, but I feel like this is the story. And so basically, she had like this assistant had their own email, whatever, but it was her. But she wanted, I assume, I don't remember the reasoning. I don't know if I even know the whole story, but I was like, interesting. That's really funny to me. And I think that, I mean, it's just funny, and she's funny, and she's great, and she's amazing. And she does really cool things and funny things. And, she is absolutely has a business that is, perfect for her, and her lifestyle and what she's good at and all of that. So anyways, she had this email address, and so people would be emailing, assistant@amandafrances.com, but it was her. It's not anymore. She has a team of people that work for her. But like I said, I don't know her specifics, but I can say, looking at that and thinking about that now, that is an amazing idea for everybody. And I only say that because it puts up a boundary. And as someone who has worked and has struggled with boundaries, like, I'm a yes person. I'm like, oh, can you help me with this? Oh, this project went on for way too long. I've worked with people over the years, and some recently enough, that completely take advantage, that I don't know how to describe it, but boundaries were lacking. And not this email address would have sufficed in this particular instance, but if you limit the access people have to you, or people perceive they have to you, then it makes it much easier. If people think that they can just email you anytime, they can message you anytime, that they're always going to have access to you, it's going to be really hard to pull back or to change the dynamic. And I mean, it can be done. It will be done when you hire a team. But if you start off that way, it's a really good way mentally too, for you to realize, you are putting a product or service into the world, but you're not at anyone's beck and call, because nobody wants their business to be like that. What's the point of having your own business if you're still have to react instantly to demands of other people? If that's the case, just go work somewhere else where you don't have to put all this thought and energy and stuff. And you will have stress, and you will have doubt, and you could just go work at another place and not have any of that, and show up for work and leave and not worry about it when you leave. And so, yeah, the whole point of having your own business is to have it be what you want it to be. And so setting up those boundaries are really good. But eventually you will hire people, whether you hire contractors, which a lot of people do, hire staff. Eventually you might have, eventually you might have that assistant manning that email for you. You might have people who handle your social media for you. You might have people who handle your website for you. Graphics. I mean, there's like all kinds of things. And so eventually you will have the ability to go, okay, what is my zone of genius? Like, what is it about this business that only you can do? Because there is. I mean, you're either offering products or services based on what you know, your experiences, your knowledge, your what you're good at, and those are the things that only you can be responsible for. But somebody else can check your emails and route things that need to go to you and handle other customer issues. Somebody else can do updates on your website. Somebody else can create those social media graphics and schedule posts for you. Somebody else can set up the emails that go out to your email list. And so eventually you are going to lessen all of the random things that you do and focus on the things that only you can do, and the things that you like to do. Like, if you like to write certain things or do certain things, then you're going to continue doing it because you get to do what you want. But you won't be doing all the things forever. And so that will come down the road. When you're first starting out, you're going to be DIYing a lot of stuff because you're going to not want to spend money that you don't have to. You're not going to want to hire somebody and pay them money when you're just trying to build the income. So you're going to learn a lot of stuff, and you're going to tackle a lot of things. Or you may hire somebody to do your website, or you might take a course that walks you through how to do your website, or all the different things. And you have to be prepared for that. You have to know, okay, I don't love sitting at the computer. I don't love staring at a screen. I want to be doing this, this, and this. And my business revolves around nature and the outdoors, and I'm stuck behind a screen. It's not forever, but you do have to do the things that you may not necessarily be super excited about. And then as you grow and as you expand, you'll have other options. So keep that in mind. Your business that you're starting now is not going to look like your business in a year or 2 years or 3 years. And then, of course, not the whole point. There's a lot of points to starting a business, and everyone has their own reasons for starting their own business. But the point is to do something you enjoy, do something that has some sort of meaning for you, where you're not just a robot in an office filing papers for somebody else's business. It's to be able to have financial freedom. It's to be able to have time freedom. It's to be able to have location freedom, or whatever the things are. And so as you build your business, like, you're going to start out with whatever kind of offer you have. If you follow along with the Build Your Business Bundle, you'll come up with some strategic offerings and starting at low price points, but also have maybe a premium offer available. And then those will even change. Like, your low price point items might stay the same, but what it takes to work with you at the premium level, the one-on-one level, that price will go up over time. It will go up as you get more experience, as you get more confidence, as you get more knowledge, as you have different ways to offer things, more ways to offer things. And eventually, working with you for an hour one-on-one is going to cost, you're going to get paid more for that 1 hour than you probably make in a week right now. Maybe, a week at your current job, not in your business, but like, it is just a process. And right now it might be like, I would never charge that much, but you will grow. You will be worth that much to the people who need you at some point. And then they will have other ways to work with you that are not taking your time, your physical time, one-on-one, through courses, through groups, through online services, offers, products, whatever. And so that is the goal. I think one other thing, I hope I haven't been completely all over the place here, but I think one other thing that I was thinking about that I definitely wanted to mention is, when you're starting your business, I mean, lots of people deal with lots of different things, not knowing what they can do, not knowing what they should do, coming up with ideas that may, or, that they've thought through, but they don't necessarily know, like, they don't know what they don't know. Nobody knows what they don't know. And so there might be better ways, easier ways. It might not be a great business model. It might, you might be in desperation mode where you're like, I just need to quit this job. I hate my life. I need something new. I'll do this. And then and the way you set it up is like, well, it doesn't give me the time freedom or the scheduling freedom or the location freedom, whatever is important to you. It doesn't give me that, but whatever, it's better than what I'm doing now. And maybe one day I can hire people and then I won't have to do it. Don't go into it with that mindset. Like, go into it with, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to put out in the world. This is what I'm going to feel good doing. And while you might not like all the pieces you have to do in the beginning, as far as the learning or the sitting at the computer or the social media, whatever, it's not about any of that. It's about, what am I putting out in the world? What am I offering? What service, what product, what am I giving? What will I feel good? What will make me happy to do, to focus my time on, spend my time on, learn more about, because you are going to spend a lot of time with whatever it is your business is about. So go into it with that mindset, but also know that, like, and I know a lot of people, and I'm one of them, I think, over the years, it's like, okay, what is my purpose? What is my life's purpose? And then trying to funnel that into a business model. And that's not necessarily the answer either. You want to do something that you're good at and you enjoy and you feel good about and you can help people with, which will give you a purpose in and of itself. But your business is not who you are. It is not the reason you're on this earth. And so I say, step back from that mentality if that's where you get stuck, because some people will. And just, focus on what you're good at, what you want to do, what you can do for people, how you can do it, and you will feel good about that. And then when it comes to your life's purpose, your business will hopefully help you get to that or see that or be able to pursue that. But it may not be your life's purpose, maybe not be the same as your business's purpose. And so when it comes to your life's purpose, the only thing I can say is, when you're trying to distinguish that, this has gone in a very interesting direction, but when you're trying to distinguish that and keep the two maybe separate and like realize your purpose is not your business, but that's a good thing and it's okay, that, you know, the desires, the things you care about, and all of those things, you know, because we all have very different focuses in our life, and, you know, causes, things we care about, and those would be more inclined to point you towards your purpose. And when you are living in a way, and, you know, majority of our life is spent doing something that brings in income so we can live, but when you're living in a way where you're financially secure and beyond, you're taken care of, your basic needs are taken care of, your desire, like your wants are taken care of, your family's taken care of, your friends are taken care of. Like, you have the ability to do that financially. You have the ability to live the way you want, where you want, the way, you know, how you want, on your terms. Then you are, you know, supported and fulfilled. That's when you can give more attention to those other things that you care about, the causes, the desire, whatever it is. That's when you will be free, because you were so supported by what you've created that you can then turn your attention to those things. And then, you know, an example would be, I am very passionate about animals, animal welfare, the treatment of animals, the rescuing of animals, dogs, getting them, you know, not just like wildlife or animals in general, but like animals in shelters and those kinds of things. And, you know, my life's purpose might feel like I want to do something that helps these animals. I want to rescue them. I want to foster them. I want to help find homes for them. I want to make it easier for other people to do that. I want to make it easier for people to be able to go to shelters and rescue older animals, because most people look for younger animals, and older animals, as I can attest to, because my dog passed away recently, get expensive with medical care, because something's happening and you go to the vet and then stuff happens and then you end up with a $6,000 bill. And, you know, so when you go to a shelter, you don't want to choose that dog that you're going to have for a short amount of time, and it's going to cost you a fortune. That's how why people generally get animals. But at the same time, I'm very passionate about the fact that these poor animals, whether they were, abandoned by terrible people, or dropped off there, whatever the thing is, they don't deserve that. And they don't deserve to live their final time in a shelter alone. So these are things I'm very passionate about. And so, am I building my business on helping animals? No. Like, I could go down that road and be like, okay, like, I'm going to do this and work this, and I don't care if I'm, broke. I just want to help the animals. Well, I'm not in a position to help the animals when I can't take care of myself, or I'm constantly stressed financially, or I'm constantly stressed about paying my bills and eating and taking care of myself and feeling good. I need to be in a safe, secure place. I need to be taken care of. I need to feel completely confident and good about my foundation, my way of life, what I'm doing. And then I can so you're going to have so much more energy, and you're going to have financial resources. You're going to have all these things that are supporting you. And then you can focus your attention on those things. You can do things that you would not be able to do if you didn't have this business piece over here. So I hope, that inspires you. I hope that helps to clarify things for you. I hope that helps you to see, like, nothing is forever, because everybody's coming in at different points. I personally love I don't love sitting at my computer, but the things I do while I'm at my computer make me so happy. I love working in the technology space. I love the marketing. I love the pieces, a lot of them. And so the fact that I'm not outside right now and I'm sitting here recording this, that doesn't bother me. I'm enjoying myself. But we all have different things. And so if you're just like, I need a business that doesn't require me to stare at a computer screen. In this day and age, even if you had a brick and mortar business, there's going to be an online piece to it. And at least without the brick and mortar business, you're starting out, you can start at zero with $0, and you can start building a business. Yes, there are costs involved and you do have things to learn, but between Google and different things, you can get started. Between social media and free access to the people out there, you can get started. Like, there is no excuse, and there's no crazy amount of money or business loans you have to start your own business. And so just appreciate that and know that by doing it, by sitting at the computer, by getting a little more comfortable and learning more about technology and the different pieces of the online world, it's not forever, and at the outside, the nature that, whatever it is that's calling you, you will get there. And by building your business this way now, as a business of one, you're growing something every day that's going to then give you that freedom to go outside and play.